Right, thank you for the introduction. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, namaste, good evening. I'm very happy to be here today. First of all, before I begin, I would like to congratulate the government and the people of India for the recent successful holding of the general election. It was the world's largest democratic election, and this is a testament to your strong commitment to democracy. The strong partnership between our two countries is based on shared democratic values, and as such, every victory for democracy in our respective countries further strengthens our partnership. Once again, my sincere congratulations. I would like to formally thank the ORF for organizing today's symposium, which will contribute to building a strong foundation for promoting a special strategic partnership. In fact, the timing and venue could not have been more perfect. It really marks the anniversary of President Moon's maiden visit to India, during which he stayed right at this hotel. It was the longest visit by any leader of the two countries, and it demonstrates Korea's will and commitment to deepen its relations with India. As Ambassador Shin and Dr. Joshi has mentioned, our world is going through profound changes, and it's bringing with it even more uncertainties and new risks. Challenges to globalization and multilateral institutions are felt in all spheres. Democracy is under assault in many parts of the world. Protectionism is on the rise. New technologies are swiftly altering how we live, communicate, play, and work. Against this backdrop, partnership and cooperation between like-minded countries like Korea and India that share common values is becoming even more vital than ever. Accordingly, President Moon and Prime Minister Modi endorsed a joint vision for people, prosperity, peace, and future, giving fresh impetus to further deepening our bilateral ties. As an important step towards realizing this vision that our leaders have adopted, we're fully committed to implementing the new Southern Policy, which Korea hopes will become another important tool through which our strategic partnership can be deepened. President Moon's commitment to strengthening Korea's ties with India has been clear since the launch of his administration, as Ambassador Shin just mentioned. I hope today to explain to you Korea's new Southern Policy and what we hope to achieve through this initiative. And I ask for your broad support for its success. The new Southern Policy is at its core a diplomatic initiative which seeks to broaden Korea's engagement and diplomatic outreach with India and ASEAN, which geographically occupies space south of Korea, hence the word Southern in its name. The principal aim is to elevate Korea's strategic ties with these important partners as a new pillar in Korea's diplomacy. It is a clear iteration of Korea's commitment to put India front and center of Korea's foreign policy, which it clearly deserves. The strategic considerations behind this initiative are severalfold. First, there has long been a sense that Korea needs to engage more actively with regional players like India on key strategic issues. A disproportionate share of Korea's diplomatic resources have unfortunately been devoted to managing the most pressing security issue on the Korean Peninsula, of course, the North Korean nuclear problem. As such, Korea faced constraints in cultivating sustained strategic partnerships with countries beyond the major powers that were perceived as immediate stakeholders in the North Korean issue. However, we're increasingly becoming cognizant that a peaceful, stable, and prosperous Korean Peninsula is in the shared interests of our partners in the wider region, and they are indeed important stakeholders as well. Second, growing US-China rivalry and competition, which in recent days have manifested in increased trade friction, is alarming, especially for our region. As a treaty ally of the US, with China as our biggest trading partner, Korea increasingly faces difficulties in managing relations with these important partners. And this is hardly unique for all the countries in the region. Many countries feel the pull of various competing initiatives, such as the Belt and Road Initiative and the Indo-Pacific Strategy. In this regard, it is in all of our interests to work together to strengthen a regional architecture that is rules-based, open, transparent, and inclusive. Through the implementation of the new Southern Policy, we hope to contribute to building a network of like-minded partners who want to see such regional architecture take hold in our region. Lastly, through the new Southern Policy, we seek to expand the foundation of prosperity in the region by forging a future-oriented, mutually beneficial, and sustained economic cooperation with India. This region's China-centered supply chain is making adjustments, due in part to political risks and inevitable technological demands. Experts assess that the manufacturing base is clearly shifting away from China towards emerging Asian economies, a large portion of which is going to India. India is often dubbed the next China. I would have to beg to differ. India, with its high growth rate, its growing working-age population and middle class, and its openness to foreign direct investment, has the potential to become beyond China. As a dynamic economy that has been described as an elephant that's starting to run by the IMF, we're confident that under Prime Minister Modi's continued strong leadership, India is poised to not only run, but fly. India has a growth forecast upwards of 7% in the coming years and accounts for about 15% of global growth. The bold structural reform measures undertaken by the Prime Minister during his first term in office will bear even more fruit in the coming years, boosting the competitiveness of Indian manufacturers to break into high-end global supply chain. Ladies and gentlemen, the three pillars or visions of the new Southern Policy, as I mentioned, are people, prosperity, and peace. These three elements are mutually reinforcing and aim to bring the people of India ever closer on the basis of mutual understanding and appreciation for each other's socio-cultural values, while building a sustainable basis for shared prosperity in the region that enjoys lasting peace. As Ambassador Shin mentioned, there is vast unexplored potential that both Korea and India can tap into to meet these goals. The Prime Minister's core initiatives, namely Make in India, Digital India, Startup India, Skill India, and Smart Cities, provide a solid and practical foundation on which Korea and India can design specific projects. For Korea, Digital India is of a particular interest for both Korean IT enterprises that want to harness the synergy from India's remarkable ICT service capability combined with Korea's advanced ICT application. India's strong basic research and standing as an international R&D hub makes it very attractive for Korean businesses looking to set up R&D facilities here or recruit research personnel. As set out in the joint vision statement, Korea-India Future Strategy Group has been already set up and running, charged with overseeing joint R&D projects in the area of digital transformation, future manufacturing and utilities, as well as healthcare. Korea ICT Boot Camp, which opened last year in Bangalore, has already helped a number of Korean startups enter the Indian market. Other promising projects are also in the pipeline, including the Korea Startup Center and India-Korea Center for Research Innovation Cooperation, expected to open in the latter half of this year. Smart cities is also an area for potential collaboration. This would be particularly meaningful in that it would provide us with an opportunity to work together on tackling virtually all of the socioeconomic challenges of urbanization that India has been experiencing in the course of its rapid development. These would include basic services such as water and waste management, integrated transportation networks, communication system, as well as security and safety measures, all areas in which Korea is well placed to play a helpful role. In addition to bilateral engagements, India and Korea could also study the possibility of a trilateral cooperation on relevant projects with our ASEAN partners. Such joint endeavor could maximize both of our countries' role and influence in the region while contributing to the region's prosperity as a whole. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to conclude by sharing some frank observations from my interactions with Korean businessmen as to why such a huge potential has so far gone untapped. There is, in fact, a room for a lot of mutually beneficial partnerships, but we have not seen tangible results and significant joint ventures. It is true that there is a great deal of interest on the part of the Korean private sector in investing in Korea, but this is quite limited so far to big companies, the big names, Samsung and Hyundai. The smaller or mid-sized businesses seem to have a genuine difficulty in navigating the complexities of doing business in India due to its sheer size. To be fair, India would be more accurately described as a continent rather than a country, and sometimes there is simply a lack of understanding on the part of the businesses on how it actually works. For example, division of labor between the central government and states is something that is a foreign to Korean businesses and a concept that's hard to grasp. So, one of the important tasks of the Committee on New Southern Policy will be to support these Korean businesses gain accurate information and insight into the real India. To this end, we look forward to working closely with the government of India and other relevant actors. We believe that we can become bridge builders that help foster and strengthen this very important relationship. We count on your continued support and advice. Thank you very much for allowing me to share in this meaningful event.